Major Wadi.
Okay.
For 3rd District.
Right.
And to, you know, I wanna word this right because I wanna ask the question. It's crazy because we know that these women were picked up on that side and everything, but then they were left in our neck of the woods like that. Do Prince George's County just handle that situation, or being as though the situation actually started on the DC side?
Right.
Do y'all, collaborate any on that, or do they, when you find a body over here, even though it's something that happened over there, it's y'all responsibility and y'all responsibility only?
No, they work together closely. The DC Police Department, even Virginia, because there are parts of Virginia that border, where we're interacting and things take place crossing those borders. So Prince George's County, at least with the 2 transgender murders that you're referring to, they're handling both of those because they both happened in Prince George's County. But any connection with the District of Columbia, they're communicating with them about any information or intelligence as to identifying suspects. There's been 1 arrest in one of the cases. The other one, there hasn't been an arrest yet, but identifying suspects in those cases. So they do collaborate and share information. I mean, and frankly, they come here too and do search warrants on places and individuals that are in Prince George's County in the state of Maryland that are involved in crimes in DC as well. So we share that information very closely.
Okay. Miss Ray Dixon.
Hey, sweetie.
Hey. It is so good to have you in the studio. Like I said, it's been hard.
I know.
Working and everything. But I have in the studio also a mom of a gun violence victim. It happens to be my cousin. I'm going to let her tell the story because I don't want to talk too much and I don't want to even start. Yeah.
I just want to say hi to everybody and thank you for having me on the show. It's truly an honor and it's a blessing to be here. As a mom of a person, a son who was just taken the way he was taken, and to have, after several years, justice and this person put in jail, my heart is just so lighter.
Well, yeah, I understand. Because resolution is big.
Yes. I would never want to wish that on anybody, to lose a child.
Right.
You know, that's one of the hardest things to do, is to bury a child. But I just thank God for him giving me the strength and people just loving me in spite of that.
Right.
And, you know, when I got the call, I had just got off the phone with my son and I had made chili. That was one of his favorites. And I sent it with his brother. And they was over there playing the game. I actually was supposed to go, but I didn't because I wasn't feeling well. And it was around like 7 o'clock and I got a phone call that he had got shot. And I remember standing up against the wall and just sliding down the wall and screaming and hollering. And I knew my son was gone before they even said he was gone. A mother knows something is not right.
Tell us about that feeling.
The feeling was, it was like something just came out of me. It was just the connection that we have with our children, even when they're not in our presence, is so strong. And a lot of people don't understand that. But I knew he was gone before I even got the call. And I just said, Lord, please just take my son and wrap him in your arms and comfort him. And everybody was like, oh, no, he's okay. Mom, we going over here. We're going to, you know, they took him to the hospital. I said, he's gone. You know, because I knew it.
Yeah.
So, you know, we went over there and everything, and the homicide, they were really good. They wanted to talk to my other son. And, you know, they was just so out of it. And so, like, they couldn't even, I've never seen my children like that. So I had to instantly gain my strength to be there for them because I seen them like just going to a place of darkness. And I didn't want to lose them too.
Yeah.
So, we did the funeral and everything like that. And it still didn't kick in until I walked in and actually seen him laying in the casket. That's when it really hit me, because I thought I was dreaming, and I'm like, I know I'm in a dream. We
all did,
and I just want somebody to wake me up. This is not true. My son is not gone. And I just remember just praying so much and crying and just praying and crying and praying and crying and just asking God for the strength to just, comfort us and help me with my sons, because they were close, and his daughter and, his fiance, and she was pregnant. I didn't even know that at the time.
Right.
And so we got through that. And then I found out she had my grandson. And, my grandson, his son didn't even get a chance to know his father to hold him, because my son was a wonderful father to his daughter. The day that he died, he had just dropped her off from school, and they had ate pizza and played basketball. And it was actually their 10th year anniversary, and they were going out. And I'm telling you, it was just one of the worst things that I could ever experience. I thank God that I got through it. And I thank God for Mr. Church, because when, after 2 years of keep getting postponements and, delays, you lose that sense of hope. You lose that sense of, okay, they probably going to end up letting him go. So what am I going to do from this point? But he told me, and, at first when people tell you things, you're like, yeah, okay. But it was something about when he said it, and he said, Miss Dixon, I'm going to get this guy. I'm going to put him away for a long time. I believed him.
You're making me cry.
I believed him because I had nothing else to hold on to. And for this man to not be judgmental, to treat my son with the respect,
that makes so much.
It made me look at not just him, but Mr. David Robinson, the homicide detective. He was awesome. And he told me, I'm going to get this guy. If it's the last thing I do, I'm going to get him. And to have people advocate for you in your worst time. Was amazing.
But you did, you did a great job too with just bringing the information in, gathering the information, because a lot of, parents don't do that. Miss Cook, she remind me a lot of you. I can't even say you remind me of her. She remind me a lot of you. On how you did things.
Soon as I got off the phone and they confirmed that my son was gone, I went on my laptop and I started pulling phone records and I started highlighting phone numbers and I seen phone numbers on there, like people calling my son at 1:00 and 2:00. So I highlighted all of that. I printed it out. I was trying to get the text messages, but I couldn't. And when I went to the detective, like the next day, I had all this information and names and stuff, and he was looking at me like, and I was like, I don't know who this person is. And then one of the phone numbers that was that they were calling from, the day my son died, they changed the number. Wow. So the number changed, and I didn't see the number no more. So I said, y'all need to look at this, because either they changed the number or got rid of the phone, something. So I was like a detective on my own.
A very good one.
It's very important. It's very important.
And you got to advocate, even in the midst of your pain, when for people out there who have lost a loved one, in the midst of your pain, you have to advocate. You have to just sit back and just
tell
the
them,
simplest things and you tell them, you let them know.
That's right.
I called that man every day with something. I know he was tired of me, but guess what? I wasn't tired. I was going to do this until I closed my eyes, And as far as the missing, I'm at a loss for words. I couldn't imagine having a child out there and not knowing what happened. It breaks my heart. It breaks my heart. That's so much stuff.
And being a mom of a victim of homicide, I try to explain, to families of the missing and murdered community that these situations are totally different. When you have a murdered loved one, we have closure. We can take our children, take our loved ones, we can give them a memorial service. We can go and visit them. You know what I'm saying? Or some of us have them right on our, nice shelves and stuff, in irons and everything. But when it comes to a parent of a missing person, it's kind of, it's like it's a thing where it's a never-ending closure.
Yes.
Until
you're always in limbo.
Yeah,
Right.
you're always in limbo. I hate the fact that we live in a world where people try to divide the two.
Right.
We have situations. Back to you, Mr. Church. I'm gonna come back. But we had a situation. I was advocating for a young man, Marcus Shabazz. I'm pretty sure it probably rings.
It does ring a bell.
I advocated for him. He was a missing person. He started off as a missing person.
Right.
And he was found, I think it was 4 or 5 days later, out on a wooded area out on Iverson Place over there. Do you deal with cases like that where, people go missing and, then they are murdered? Is that... is those are both of are the individuals charged with both, far as like the person going missing and, end up in homicides?
It depends on the facts and circumstances, like kidnapping or false imprisonment, depending on how everything unfolded. Absolutely. The difficulty is putting the story together as to what happened in the time period between when they went missing and when they were found ultimately.
Okay.
And that really relies a lot on the forensic evidence as well. There are ways to determine particular times of death and so on from records that will in particular give us some information as to what happened. And I think I recall a case similar to that where a young man who was a community activist in Alexandria, Virginia, was kidnapped, and they found his body 6 months later in a well in Fort Washington.
Good God Almighty.
Do you recall that
I think
case?
I remember, yeah.
So we really had to piece together 6 months of information as to where he had been all that time, what he had been doing,
Good God.
phone records, credit cards, that sort of thing, and all of that unfolded to put together 3 suspects for us that we prosecuted. One of the suspects that was prosecuted, Tyrone Lewis, I think he's doing life without parole plus 140 years because there were just a bunch of things that transpired. So when you ask, did they get charged with everything? Absolutely. He and the other 2 men that he committed that crime with, the kidnapping and then the murder, certainly.
What cases are considered, okay, when it comes to homicide? And you know how you put labels on it as capital murder, as first degree murder, second degree. How do you establish, what is what?
Right. Well, so legally, it's easy to define. A murder, second degree murder, is killing somebody intentionally, and that's it, without premeditation or deliberation. What makes it a first degree murder is when there's premeditation or deliberation. In other words, if you've had time to consider what you're doing and you could choose not to do what you're about to do that commits or results in the death, that might be enough time to be premeditated and deliberate. Doesn't mean they have to come up with a plan or draw out a diagram or think about it for days or even minutes for that matter, but multiple gunshots sometimes are sufficient. If you've fired more than once, you could have stopped. You did not have to fire multiple times, and multiple times shows deliberation and premeditation. You've thought through the consequences of your acts. So that's the real difference. The other second degree murder sometimes is more of a heat of passion if you're in the midst of a fight and then something happens and you escalate it to deadly force, but that's all that happens. They stab, maybe a single gunshot wound. That would be more of a second degree murder. You meant to do it, but you didn't have the time and opportunity to deliberate and be premeditated.
And manslaughter is like an accident.
So there are 2 variations of manslaughter. There's voluntary and involuntary. So voluntary could be where you are acting in what you think is self-defense. We call it imperfect self-defense.
Right.
So if you honestly believe you're in danger, but it's unreasonable to believe that you're in danger, and you take the life of another, a jury or a judge could conclude that that's voluntary manslaughter. You meant to do it, but you had an honest but unreasonable belief that you were in danger.
Right.
Then involuntary manslaughter is where you're just doing something completely reckless. You don't plan on killing anyone, but it results in death. And let's say you drive a car through a crowded park and you hit somebody, but you didn't mean to hit that person. Right. That's probably a better example of what involuntary manslaughter
is.
Exactly.
Do we have capital murder here?
We don't. We have first and second degree murder.
Okay, so no one could be charged. Have you ever been in a situation where you looked at a case and been like, okay, this should be capital murder? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you have. Certainly. You know, I just thought I'd ask that question because, you know, when you hear about some of the cases, you know, how people, you know, are brutally murdered and things of that nature, and you be like, and you might hear a case that's similar somewhere else where they offer. And I'm like, oh my God, I could wonder why we don't have, it's been several cases out here that I'd have been like, oh my God, why we don't have capital murder? You know, to just set an example, because sometimes you have to set an example, you know, and I'm serious because this is the way of the world today. Everybody wants to point a finger.
Right.
You know, nobody wants to take responsibility for their own actions. We're living in times right now where we have 26,000 unsolved murders, okay, in this country. And 18,600 of them are Black people.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on that? Just
what is your,
I mean, my thoughts are, at least as being a homicide prosecutor, and even as a police officer, is there is a profound, just no more caring about life. There's no appreciation for life, for one another. I think a lot of these young men, and I'm going to say that only because primarily young men are the ones committing these crimes.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of them really expect to live beyond 25 or 26 themselves.
Yeah.
And they live a life that is just shows that recklessness or that disregard for human life. So it's a shame. It's so sad because none of these are necessary.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just
what can we do, Mr. Church, as the community, as, you know, voters, you know, registered voters, as people who, you know, leaders? I think I'm a leader in my community, you know, people that want change.
Right.
You know, what could we do to help? Because we know that it's not a lot of laws put into place. That's what we've been trying to push, you know, with some of, you know, these cases. Just, you know, you look and you say, you know, if, like with the case with Alicia Rudd right now, you know, knowing that the man that was responsible for, you know, taking her, he has killed himself, killed his wife and everything, but we have to think about, how did she get in that situation?
Absolutely.
Okay. How did she get in that situation? That's the question that I ask all the time. I mean, I know how she got there, but how come nothing has been done about that?
Yeah.
Why have no one else been charged? Because the bus didn't just stop with Khalil Tatum and his wife.
No, it did not. It stopped with the mom.
Yeah, you know, because just to know that we already know that you put this child in this man's hands, in harm's way.
Right.
Here we came up on 6 years, March the 1st, that this child has been gone, that we don't have a clue where she is. You know, leads have grown cold.
Right.
You know, people are, you know, they just came up with this new age progression sketch of her. Just the Center for Missing and Exploited Children is brand new. And so it's still, you know, hope that she's still out here and someone just has her. But then when you look at how things are being handled when it comes to her case. The fact that it's in homicide right now.
Right.
You know, homicide detectives are handling this as well as missing persons. You know what I'm saying? You kind of think, you know, because we've had some situations like with Pamela Butler, who went missing, and her body has never been found, but the person who's responsible for her disappearance, he's in jail, you know, and they had to put a plea bargain down on the table in order, you know, for him to tell them where their loved ones was at.
Right.
And even though that didn't pan out, you know what I'm saying? And just the fact that, you know, I know the family is fighting to try to change that. I don't know how that's going to happen, you know, but maybe it is some chance that it can happen. The same thing with Unique Harris. You know, she has been missing for 10 years now. From my understanding, they have someone arrested for it, but they still have not found her body. And they had to wait. I want to ask this question too. Usually, like with Relisha, she's coming up on 6 years. With Pamela Butler, they basically waited 8 years, I think, to say, you know, well, she's most likely deceased and alive. Why is that?
I guess because of the time and the proximity, maybe some of the facts and circumstances. I guess, well, I don't think you ever want to take hope away from a family, right?
Right.
I guess, but maybe there's a point where you have to be more realistic about what the outcome might be. But I would say don't ever give up hope. I don't believe anybody should ever give up hope.
Yeah, I tell families that all the time because, you know, I advocate for cases, you know, with families who have, you know, missing loved ones 40, 50 years.
Right.
You know, and I try to tell them that it never goes cold. You know, I mean, it's not like, you know, that case, they just want to wipe that case out and just forget about your loved one being missing, you know, after 40-some years. It's always going to be somewhere, you know, now as far as like having leads on it. That's another horse of a different color. But I know a lot of times I'm learning that with these cases, they are going back and they're revisiting old leads. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we have a case of missing Christian Muse. He has been missing now from out here in Prince George's County 7 years now. 7 years. And I had the pleasure with, I advocate for him as well. And I had the pleasure with, you know, speaking with Prince George's County Bureau of Investigations Missing Persons Section, Captain Patrick Hampson. I interviewed him as well. He had him here. And our chief of police, he was here as well too.
Both good people.
Both good people. I love, you know, people have hung up about Chief Stawinski, but I love the work that he has done.
He's very much dedicated to protecting
very dedicated.
Absolutely.
I tell people all the time, you know, people always throw up the word racist and all of that stuff. How you want to be racist in a place where 80% of your residents are, and the people that live here are Black people?
Right. But here's the thing. What is the demographic on the police force? That's why people make those allegations, because I don't. It's the percentage, as far as I understood it. But this was a couple of years ago. It was very low in terms of you have more Hispanic and white than you do Black folks on the Prince George's police force, and the county is predominantly. I mean, it's not overwhelmed. There's a lot of Black people out here.
But you know, in some situations, like when I, you know, you know, incidents where police are called, usually time, you know, I don't know if it's because of the district that I live in, but Black officers come. You know what I'm saying?
No, I was just offering an explanation.
You know, Black officers come. You're seeing more community.
Well, for me, when I call the police, I don't care what color it is.
You're seeing more community clicking, you know, when it comes to the police in the community. You know, like I learned in, you know, Citizens Police Academy, how in the hell are they going to shoot you if they know who you are?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what they do.
And
And this is why a lot of people are standoffish from the police, because they have that mentality from the 60s, 70s, and 80s of what happened out here. But people need to be encouraged to go meet that commander in their district, because just like you said, when they know you, they will try to talk to you.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't had, like I said, my district commander has been very, very, shout out to Major Waddy, third district, Prince
And
George's
Commander
County.
First District.
She's been on point when it comes to, the community policing, having more police presence in the community. Like, some people might get a little annoyed when they see the police. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay? I love it. I'm serious. When especially,
it's
when
like that classroom teacher when in the 60s and 70s when you could issue that corporal punishment.
Yeah.
Not that anybody wanted to beat you up, but that was it was a deterrent.
Yes. Now, for a second, talk to these families of murdered victims who are going through the trial processes right now. Like, like I said, just dealing with these families, like, up close and personal. I hear the crying and the sleepless nights. And, I have an advocate, Miss Cook, her grandson was went missing, and his body was found 9 months later along Suitland Parkway and Forestville Road. And she is right now going through the trial. She's going through the hearings and all conferences and all of that stuff. But the trial starts September the 20th. They put it back because it was supposed to start in June.
Okay.
She's having a hard time, and it's a lot of them that are having hard times right now. They're going through that process, like you went through it. You know what I'm saying? And it's a difference, it's totally different when it comes to prosecuting and all of that stuff in court, how things are handled. Because her grandson, he was 22 years old, and he was trying to figure out what he was going to do in life.
Right.
Got it together, got it all figured out, and bam, and so just to go to court and to hear how they eat him alive, like as if he's the criminal.
He's the criminal.
And then these families have to hear that, and then you hear, like I done been standing next to her and I done heard them tell her, well, just be happy about any time that we get them. When they have those type of things to say to,
Right, that's not right.
Tell the families, just something to look forward to.
Sure. So it is important to understand that it is going to take some time to get there, but the goal is to get there and make that the end of everything. I don't ever want to see a family go through a case in a trial that happens quickly where there's a conviction and then it's reversed by one of the appellate courts, because all homicide convictions are reviewed by the Court of Special Appeals or Court of Appeals.
Didn't know that.
Could come back, and so in some cases they do. So, and we don't want to be doing it a second time, and the family doesn't want to be re-victimized with another trial. So our goal as prosecutors, lawyers, is to make sure that the prosecutors actually do both the defense and the prosecution job. In my head, I do everything I can make sure that the defendant's rights are appreciated, so that there's not a reason for something to come back, and to make sure there's not a reason that the trial might be a mistrial. My goal is to do everything to make sure all bases are covered, so when we get the conviction, that is the end of all things for that family. And so that may take 3 years, but instead of coming back 5 years later because it was reversed, it's over in 3 years and done with. But I would always say, don't give up hope. Do understand that it's a slow process. And just because you don't hear anything doesn't mean nothing's happening.
Exactly.
There's a lot of research, a lot of writing, a lot of evidence collection. Cases sometimes get better as time goes by.
Yes.
We get more information. And to Miss Dixon's point, if you've got something you think is important or significant, don't hesitate to tell the lead detective or the prosecutor what you know.
Right.
And as Ms. Dixon would say, I mean, I appreciated and understood and valued James and wanted to do what I could to
That's
value
wonderful.
and appreciate who he was. And I think we presented that at the trial to say,
Yes,
listen,
we did.
this is what was going on, and you need to understand that this is not what should have happened.
Exactly.
And so share that information with the prosecution and the detectives, because it'll give us the why, it'll help us get to where we need to be. But don't give up hope.
Right.
I've not lost a loved one this way, so it's hard for me to say that I know how it feels, but I've seen a lot of families suffer, and just don't give up hope. Remember the good things about your child, your son, your brother, your friend, your colleague. So that's what I would say.
Okay, I've got a quick question based on what she said, because Miss Cook, you said that they told her that she should be satisfied.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's any kind of agreement that a family has to sign. Can she bring a civil action against that attorney?
If it's, I mean, it depends on what attorney it is, but probably not. No.
Probably it can. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, that was just a hard pill to swallow, because like I said, she has a hard time every time. And just like I said, to know how my cousin's case was handled, like people, to see people, going through, changes. And sometimes you don't believe it, because, the way things went for us, even when I had an uncle that was killed in 96. And he was murdered on his birthday. And what's today, the 7th? Today is actually his birthday. Today is my Uncle Robert's birthday today. And just to see how Prince George's County handled that. And we go to the trial, the probation, what is it, where he comes up for parole, the parole hearings and everything, and how, the detectives and the people are there to support us to the end. That happened in 96. But to know that it's people, that still are active, they care, even all those years later, it's like, oh my God, it's something. It really is. It's a wonderful feeling, and to know that, they're fighting to make sure this man stays in jail. He has had a couple of paroles. It hasn't, touched the streets, You
mean his parole hearing?
Yeah, those parole. No, he hasn't been let out.
Okay.
And if we could do anything about it, he would never get out. Never.
Right.
Same thing with my cousin James. I don't know, how that's gonna work out, but he would never get out.
Right.
And I just want to get a point of clarification, and I know I heard you, but I just want to be clear on it. So if a person who is in the situation of the Miss Cook is, and I'm gonna say abused by an attorney, because you can be verbally abused. There is no legal recourse that person has.
Well, I think you mentioned civil suits. I don't think there's any civil suit, but there is a legal recourse. If you're mistreated by an attorney, you can file a grievance with the attorney.
With the American Bar Association. But I'm saying this woman is facing some trauma, some serious trauma.
Yeah, she has had 2 heart attacks. And everything since this whole thing and situation happened in 2017.
If afterwards you want to talk to me a little bit more,
yeah, we'll talk about it.
I can certainly try to steer you in the right way.
Okay, yeah. Right, Sharon. Talk to these moms and dads and grandmothers and sisters and brothers and aunties that's suffering right now. Because
you're a soldier.
Yeah, and she handled that like a soldier. And even when everybody around her was breaking down, and how my cousin has gotten her bachelor's degree. She has, my God. I don't need, just work through that pain. How?
First of all, I just want to say it really wasn't me. It was God the whole time.
That's it.
I got this thing on my computer, and it's like it's a woman, and it's an African American woman, and she got this like long white gown on, and there's God. It's a spirit. You can see the body, and He's holding her, and He's carrying her, and I look at that all the time, and I draw strength from that because God carried me through that. It was not me, because I was actually, thinking I was losing my mind. When people was telling me my son was dead, I was like, no, he's not. In my mind, I was saying that, but I knew he was dead in my heart, But I'm going to say to these parents, don't ever give up hope. Always remember the good times, because our children are on loan to us from God. So they may go not the way that we want to, and even before us. Always don't go to bed mad at your children. Try to resolve whatever issues. Tell them that you love them. And I remember right before I got off the phone with my son, 3 hours later, I got the call. I had told him I loved him. And he said, I love you too, Mom. And we were going to go and open up our barbershop and everything. He was like, Mom, I want you to manage it, because he wasn't a morning person. So I was going to open it up, and then he come later.
Yep, and I was going to do hair.
Yeah. We had everything already set up.
We had it all set up. That day, that like earlier that day, I had talked to James, and he was like, okay, I got the spot. It's actually right down the street from where I reside at now. Every time I ride out.
And I just want y'all to know that I pray for so many people. It's a lot of people I just pray for I don't even know, so that they get that strength to go on, because our loved ones, when we lose them, they don't want They want to see us uplifting. They want to see us positive. They want to see us enjoying life, because life is just too short. And I refuse to let the man that took my son take everything from me. He took my son, but he was not going to take me with him. And I refuse to do that. I refuse to give him that kind of power and that kind of energy, because he didn't deserve it. And I had to forgive this man. And I'm telling you, that was the hardest thing I had to do. I had to forgive him. And it was never for him. It was for me. So that I could receive my blessings and move forward. I spoke to his father after the sentencing. And
you're talking about the guy
that killed his father. And that man was... This person came from a good family. You understand? He came from a good family. Not to say that a bad family, but he just chose to do things that was just, he was just crazy. Life
is choice driven.
Right.
And as I'm listening to you talk, I think of a song my choir sang last Sunday, Take It to the Lord in Prayer. And the line that just resonates with me, what peace we often forfeit. What needless pain we bear. And I'm listening to, if you take it to the Lord in prayer, just like you said on your computer, and that has just lifted so much weight off me, because I'm going through some things right now myself. But when that plays in my head, and when you believe, you'll be okay.
Yeah, I just really hope that someone takes something away from this session, that can help them heal, because you have to heal. You have to grieve, you have to heal, but you also have to live, because they done already taken something that's priceless from you. Don't let them take everything from you, your peace of mind, the love that you have for others. Don't let them take your desires, your dreams, you want to travel. Whatever you want to do it. Do it, because the more positive you bring into your life, the lighter the load will get. You will never forget. And I have good days and bad days. Like, I don't go to work on his birthday. I go to work on my birthday, but not his birthday. Right. And it's times when I get depressed and I cry and I miss him and I look at his picture every day.
Look at them grandbabies.
And I look at my grandkids, and I didn't just lose my son. His fiance, she died from cancer. So I got grandkids that don't even have a grand. They don't even have parents. And I do everything in my power to bring them joy and happiness, because it's not about me right now. It's about them. It's about people out here that I can say that have just touched my life and didn't even know it.
Right. Like
Jonathan Church, when he told me that, I believed him, y'all. I believed that he was going to do what he said he was going to do, because I said, I'm going to hold you to it. I'm going to hold you to it.
She did.
I'm going to be at your office. I'm going to find out where you live. I'm going to be there because you told me and I believed you.
Yeah.
And I just want y'all just to hold on to something. Just please hold on to something. Don't give up. Try not to get discouraged. Surround yourself with people that empower you, that bring you positive energy. Leave the negatrons and haters alone. People didn't want to hear every day when I talked about my son. Guess what? Then you don't need to be around me.
That's right.
Don't tell me you know how I feel. You ain't lost no child.
That's right.
That's right. That's right.
Somebody told me that, well, you got other kids.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody,
you ain't stealing?
Oh, my God. I thought I was getting ready to be, I thought you was going to be getting me up there on the stand. But I had to compose myself because I know I was dealing with a fool.
It's some horrible things that
and people have said to me, well, you got other kids. And it don't matter. It's like losing an arm. You know it was there.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Even though I got another arm and I got 2 legs.
Yeah.
Right.
So I just want y'all just to please just find whatever that higher power that you have. Please hold on to it. Cry. I don't care if you got to cry every day. Cry. Get it out. You got to bring it out, because when you hold it in, it will kill you. It will manifest. It will kill you. You will have all kind of ailments. You will just be walking around just a ticking time bomb.
Yeah.
So that's what I can say to people.
You have to sometimes turn that pain into love.
Yep, you do.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, you turn that pain into love. That's what I tell a lot of, the families and stuff. Just find some way. I'm not going to say that it's going to happen overnight, because God knows I still grieve.
Take time.
I still grieve. And it's like, no, he wasn't my son. You know what I'm saying? But that was my cousin brother.
Them two?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
And so, and just to elaborate off of what you were saying, just the pain that the rest of the family feel. Like, I couldn't even go to the funeral. I was in the hospital that day because I was just so hurt and so taken back.
I was so worried about her. I was trying to, do this, and I'm worried about her because I'm getting a call that she not. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't lose somebody else.
I didn't handle it. I didn't. And when I'm talking to the families, his story is what I tell them about, and and I know how they feel. I haven't experienced that part, but I know how the pain feels because I know how I felt, and I know, I sit and we have such great memories. I have so many great memories of that crazy boy until, it's like, it don't take nothing for me to just be sitting around and just think of something and just start crying. And that is still going on today. Like I said, even, I try to tell them, that pain that I felt, and how when I got that call, when I got that call and I had to go up to UMC, Greater Southeast Community Hospital, and I saw all of my family standing out there, and I knew what was going on. I knew he was gone by the look on her face and by the look on the rest of the family's face that was out there, because it was just one of them things I felt sick to the stomach as soon as we pulled, just riding there, because we had to come from Capitol Heights there, and it was me, my mother, and my brother James, and we were in the car, and it was just silence, and and all I was doing was praying. But when I got there and I saw y'all, I knew it was over, and it was just.
It's a terrible thing. It's a horrific thing, to have to go through as a parent, and like I said, I would never wish that on nobody, to have to lose a child, and just sometimes the senselessness of people in the time of a person's pain and suffering. Sometimes people will take advantage of that for their own self, whatever it is, And I had people do that. I had people do that as far as money that was so-called donated, never got it.
Never got it.
Just different things, And, sometimes it was the people that was closest to you that was smiling with you, but the whole time they got the knife in your back.
Got the knife in your back.
But it was okay because, you know what? I still forgave them and I still moved on. I don't deal with them, but it's okay. Because see, I know what you like. So I keep you at a distance. Because see, you can't come in my space.
Sometimes
I can't
you have to love it.
Yes, you do. Because I can't pull that energy in. Because when I start pulling that energy in, then my spirit and my everything just gets out of whack for me. Yeah, and I can't do that because so many people, they kind of look to me, especially my sons, my grandkids. If grandma is not, what's wrong? You okay? Sometimes I got to go in my room and shut my door and just cry and just get it out. Sometimes I'm sitting on the train and tears are just coming out my eyes. And, people looking like, okay. You never know when it's going to happen. You never know when you're going to feel that loss. It never goes away. So don't ever think that it goes away. Because it will hit you in the happiest moment.
It just kind of get easy to deal with.
It gets easier because you learn how to deal with it, you take other people's happiness and love and support, and you put that in. You help put that in you so that you can enjoy certain things. And I enjoy life today. I love life. I love me. I don't always like me sometimes, how I think, but I love me. And I'm able to show love. And I think after experiencing that, losing my son and then losing, my daughter-in-law, and they were both 28 when they died. I learned what unconditional love was. For the first time in my life, I never experienced that until I lost my son. And see, we lose something, but we can gain so much more. And I think that's where it just helped me excel and just want to just always just move up and do better and be better and just do the things that are really pleasing, not just to me, but to other people, So that's the advice I can give parents out there. Please don't give up hope. Find some type of joy, something in your life that will make your life meaningful. Never forget your loved ones. If you got to look at a picture, you want to cry, do it. Don't be ashamed of when you got to do that. Because I know some people, if I get tired of people crying around me and sad around me, okay, well, don't go around them. Because you don't know what people go through.
You don't know what people go through,
People that at work didn't even know I was going through a lot of stuff because I didn't show it. I would go in my office and cry.
I just looked at you and I'm like, and then the more I call them PowerPoints because you was doing it and you was evolving and you was just.
It helped me grow.
You know what I'm saying?
As a woman
just seeing all of that in the mix of everything she was going through. I just sat back. I thought I'm going to tell you something. I said, she going to snap. I said, because I'm just sitting there. I'm feeding
I would have snapped if somebody come up to me and said, well, you got some more children.
But see, it's the way they said it. You know how you hear something, but they talking to somebody else, but you know they talking to you. And I was like,
damn.
I started taking off.
I can see myself like this.
It's people just don't have, nothing nice to say. That's why, even like I'm learning being an advocate. There's certain things that it's just not about pass no flies around and going to these court cases with these parents and, you know, all of this type of stuff. I'm learning bereavement. How to talk to these parents, what to say, what not to say. You know what I'm saying? It's all like that's what I'm taking a class for that right now. You know, just to learn how to
exactly, because that's so important, because you can say the wrong thing and it can be a whole nother situation.
You know, I don't want to say because you know you keep on saying I'm sorry. I mean, damn, how many times, you know what I'm saying, are you going to say sorry? So I had to get out of that I'm sorry stuff and learn other things to say. You know, not even I know what you're going through. That's somebody's people's famous line, them advocates' famous line. Oh, I know what you're going through. No, you don't. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I tell advocates all the time, because we're uniting. You know, it's a whole nation of us, and we're standing up for these missing and murdered victims. We're standing up. We're not backing down. And a lot of us are not stuck on stupid anymore. We're not believing the hype. We're not sitting up here finger pointing. We're taking a look in the mirror and trying to understand what we can do to better our community and to better the people. And it's not about, you know, no division on it, because we have our Caucasian brothers and sisters that are suffering. And I want y'all to know that, audience. We have our Caucasian sisters and brothers that are suffering just like we are. Just like the Black
suffering has no color.
It has no color. It has no color. You know, and we're going to have to start that. We're going to have to stop with the division. There's so much division. We're going to have to stop it. We're going to have to come together, and we're going to have to stand up and fight. You know,
support each other,
love each other, be there for one another, be there for these families. Share a flyer. Share a flyer. If you see something, say something like that. Seriously. Because don't wait until it happens to you. Like, a lot of us get caught up in things where, you know, we believe because it hasn't happened to us, because it hasn't came knocking on our door, that it's not going to happen, and we're living in some type of damn fantasy box. You know, step outside of your fantasy in your box and pay attention to what's going on. Seriously, y'all. Like I said, you know, we're here. I thought this interview to have you here was very important. Because like I said, you know, just to hear some of the things from the families and things that they have, I don't have the answers to it. But if I have a way to get somebody in here to explain to you, then that's what it's going to be. You know, thank y'all so much. Thank you, Mr. Church. Thank you, cousin.
Thank you, love.
For coming in.
Thank you, Miss Angela.
Thank you. Thank you, Aunt Cousin.
Honey, we sisters, okay?
Yeah.
Sisters.
Yeah. We're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back.
That's good.
I just want to say thank you.
Thank you so much. That was God. Because I got to take pictures, y'all. So this live about to go off for a second. I'll be right back, y'all.